Because you see, we're all, as Emily Dickinson would say, we are in Martha Tarry Simpson's estate. Emily Dickinson said, "Our friends are our estate. We are part of her estate. We are her friends. We are her students. We are her families." Her estate is so vast you can see for miles and see all the people and the lives that have been touched. But you've heard the common themes that we've heard today of the words and how inspiring she was. My journey with Mrs. Tarry began in 1963 at Henry County High School when I walked in that classroom as a senior in a college preparatory English class. Now, by the title, I knew I was getting ready for something and getting prepared for something. And it was all about getting ready for college and English and all the things that I needed to learn. And let me say, we had a lot of things to learn. There were books that she wanted us to read. I didn't even know how to pronounce some of the names of the books that she wanted us to read. Never heard of them. And she would have us read poems and write poems and listen to the poems. But then there were those new vocabulary words, and to this day I can see that great vocabulary workbook. And those vocabulary words were not the words that I used sitting on the front porch with friends in Newcastle. These were new words, big words, and she was teaching us how to use those as we were writing. One day I had a conversation with her. I said, "Miss Tarry, I'm really struggling of understanding why you want me to learn these vocabulary words." She said, "Now I believe in you, and you can do this, and I expect you to do this, because you've made up your mind, you're going to a large university. You're coming from a small high school, a small town, but you can do it. I expect you to be able to do that. But you're going to need these words as you write in English classes when you go to the University of Kentucky." Well, she was right again. I walked into that freshman English class at the University of Kentucky, 250 students in that class, and I thought, where is Miss Tarry when I need her the most? There were more students in that class, double of my graduating class. And above all, I had Dr. Hatch, who was professor there and head of the English department. I thought, I am in trouble. So where are the vocabulary words that I need to use for my memory? I made it through the University of Kentucky because I had a teacher who believed in me and prepared me, as many did of those fine teachers at Henry County. But she was one that just inspired me so much because she encouraged me all the time, saying, "Yes, you can do this. Don't give up. Never give up," as we've heard today. But there were also stories about Mrs. Tarry from our class, and I've heard one that was just shared about waking up a young man. In the class, it was not just about English that you were going to learn. You were going to learn about being prepared for life. And you were going to learn how to treat each other and how to care for others. So one day, I had asked her if I could be a few minutes late for class because I was getting ready for a pep rally. Now, she didn't judge me and say, "Do you really mean that you think that a pep rally is more important than the English class?" She didn't do that. In her sweet way, she said, "Try not to be too late." So as I came in, they were reading a book. And I went back to my seat, I sat down, and as I did, I jumped up and screamed real loud. Somebody had put a tack in my seat when I came in. And of course, she came back in her sweet way, and she looked around at Earl Holmes, Leslie Mason, and the late Rob Wilson, and said, "Anybody want to confess to this?" Nobody was going to say a word. They didn't certainly want to let her down by any means, but somebody put the tack in my seat. It didn't just crawl up there. So years later, Miss Tarry and I would talk about that. And the Patrick Henry Award that she received, I said, "Miss Tarry, did you ever figure out who put that tack in my seat?" She said, "My dearest, sometimes it's just best to leave mysteries unsolved. So she had let go of it. Now you can tell today I've not let go of it. So if you see Earl or Leslie, you might want to ask them so that I will know that. And then someday I can tell them, well, she probably already knows anyhow, yes. We've heard today too how the notes would come to all of us. Notes of encouragement. Notes of, how did she know when we needed those notes? And notes of just being so proud of us. She taught me to do that. For me today, I write notes into people because that's what Miss Terry has instilled into me. As being nice, being kind to others, and sharing your thoughts and thinking about them. And that's what she's done. And once you were Miss Terry's teacher, once you were Miss Terry's student, you were always her student. I think it was Gwen was part of this conversation when I went to visit with her in November. I tell the story to several of my friends that she was still teaching me at 105. She was not going to let go. Just like my mother was still raising me when she passed away, Miss Terry was still teaching me. And so she asked me, what have you been reading? And I told her. She said, was it challenging? I didn't want to tell her it wasn't really challenging. It was a fun book, but it wasn't really challenging. She wanted me to be challenged as I was reading and as I learned. She said, I have a book I want you to read. So as I left there, I thought, she just gave me homework. And by golly, what do you think I did? I left, I bought that book, gasped for air when I opened it, found out it was 462 pages. By the time I went back, I read the book, The Gentleman in Moscow. And she asked me, see, her memory was fabulous. And she said, did you read the book? And she asked me questions about it because Gwen had read it to her out loud. She said, what do you think was the main idea, the main theme of the book? Well, my whole heart just dropped because I thought, uh-oh, here we go. I've got to get this right. This is my teacher. So we had a discussion on that, and I think I got it right. She was always so gracious, too, to attend our class reunions, and many of us have had the opportunity of hearing her words of wisdom and her poems that she always shared with us. One of her favorites was always in school or at the reunion, Stopping by the Woods on a Snowy Evening by Robert Frost. And she would say to us, oh, the woods are lovely, dark, and deep, but I have promises to keep and miles to go before I sleep. You know, I think she just embedded that in her life. The promises she had to all of us. She continued to see she had promises to keep, and she did do that with all of us. And she was not going to sleep until she made sure that as our teacher, always as her student, that she was inspiring in us, wanting to learn, supporting us, and encouraging us. And so I think about being part of her estate and being and the legacy that she leaves. It's really, we are part of that legacy. I've told my grandchildren, I've told my daughter stories about Martha Terry Simpson and what a great teacher she was. But the other part of that, and I heard Dr. Buddy Berry mention this, is that as we look at other teachers, in my 50 years in education, as I worked with teachers, I always thought about, do they meet the standard of excellence as Miss Terry? That's what it was all about. More teachers being like Miss Terry in this day, because she loved us, she cared about us, she built relationships with us, and we were not going to let her down. I want to thank the family for asking me here today to share this, but I think everyone up here has already said the things that I would say about what a wonderful, wonderful lady who has inspired every one of us in this room. And God has truly blessed me by having such a teacher in my life, my mentor, my encourager, and much like a mom to me as her student. Thanks to the family, as has been said, for sharing her with us and letting us share her life and and what she means to us every day that we have lived. God bless each and every one of you, and God especially, I want to thank you for letting Miss Terry be in my life. Thank you.